Hi folks, welcome back to the Addicted Bookworm. Alrighty, so I'm going to be doing a review of the Reformatory. I will do the author's name down below. So the Reformatory was published, I believe it was in 2023. I'm not exact. I think 2023 was the copyright for the book. It's about this kid called um, Robbie Stevens. His father had to flee to Chicago because supposedly his father had raped this white woman when everybody in the community knows that the woman's husband beats the shit out of her. Yeah. So this is the story of Robert's time in the Reformatory. He was supposed to be there for 6 months. However, the warden, not the judge, had the ability to extend the stay. So, unlike today, where a judge decides how long someone is put in prison, in this story, the warden actually has the power to extend it, not the judge. The judge doesn't apparently have that authority. But there's a reason why, and I believe there's a reason why the warden does this, is so that he has more time with his victims, which the judge does not know anything. Nobody knows what this guy is doing to people, doing to children in this reformatory. I'm pretty sure that rape and torture is not part of the prison sentence. So Robert has the ability to see haunts or spirits, and these are people that have died very violently in very violent ways. And he has a sister called Gloria, and they have an ally called Ms. Lottie, who is a white woman who basically doesn't put up with shit from anyone, no matter the color of their skin. So he makes friends with two kids named Blue and Redbone. That is not their names, that's just the names they go by. And then there's a place called the Fun House, which is not fun. And this is where the warden does unspeakable things to children. He has also lost his mother. And his mother's spirit forces herself onto the property to protect her son from time to time. So the warden is a pedophile. He is a torturer and a pedophile. Lovely. Yeah. And he's terrified. He is terrified of the law finding out that he is a pedophile. So he's married with a child. Yeah. And he takes out all his sexual frustrations on the children. Yeah, because that's a great substitution for the fact that your wife doesn't give you nothing at home. Anyways, so Robert kind of sees the warden's wife because she's there in the church scene before this white dead man is captured and put in the jar. Yeah, you got burned to death and then you got put in a jar. Your afterlife sucks. Your afterlife sucks. So, anyways, so Robert is told, if you capture enough of these spirits, I'm going to let you go. And of course, for a child with this ability to be told, hey, if you catch this number of dead people, I'm going to let you go so you can go home, is a tempting thing. And the dead does not see it that way. The dead sees this guy as like, we're dead. However, we're not going until you are punished. And they may be there forever. They may be there forever. So, Miss Lottie and Grace they form a plan to get Robbie out of the reformatory so that Grace and him can catch a train to Chicago. Because if they're in Chicago, they're not in Florida. If they're not in Florida, they are away from the reformatory, they're away from, all this stuff. So they form a plan to get this kid out of there, and thankfully it succeeds. But before he leaves this fine establishment, he not only takes the jar that has these spirits in it, but he also takes the photos. And the photos are the most incriminating kind of evidence, because if it gets published that this is what the warden was doing to these children, it might cause the school to be closed, because the governor is kind of complaining about this institution. He's kind of, I don't know if he's kind of suspecting there's a reason why the warden is fighting as hard as he can to keep these doors open. I think he kind of suspects there's something wrong with the warden, but he doesn't have any kind of evidence to prove that there's something wrong with the warden. But it's interesting is that there's this showdown between the warden and Robert has the photos. Robert has the photos. And there is a guy, I can't pronounce his name, but he was friends with Robert's father. And he shows the photos to this guy. And he is like, what the fuck are you fucking doing with these children? And the warden shoots him. And he's not a good shot. He gets the guy in the shoulder. That's not near any major organ. You suck at shooting. Why do you have a gun if you can't shoot? So sorry about that. Yeah. So as his last act of loyalty to Robert's father, he helps to get as much distance between the trackers and Robert. At the end of the whole story, Robert and Gloria get on the train. They get the hell out of Dodge, and they end up in Chicago with their father. Okay, so first of all, this book was creepy as shit. Okay, it was creepy. So this isn't the only book that's based on the Dozier School for Boys. There's another one, I think it's called Sunday Boys or something like that. But this one is the only one of the two that has a supernatural tint to it. It also does reinforce this idea that spirits do still inhabit the places that they died, and that they're not all happy people. So there's a whole population of dead people. Probably not as much as the people have actually died in history, but So the thing about this book was that it really shows how eager these judges are or were to place these boys in a situation where they're around someone who's much worse than anyone they've ever encountered in their lives. So the thing about it is that is there some suspicion by judges that these wardens are doing something really bad to these children? Absolutely. But there's no evidence that this is going on. And the photos represent probably one of the most damning evidence that if Robert had gotten away with just the photos and did not kill the warden would have been basically driven out of town. But the death of the warden is important because of the fact that the warden finally did pay for his sins. And I think that is what had to happen to this character, is that he had to pay for what he has done, what he did to both black kids and white kids. And the fact is that he locked them all up. And also the warden got his first taste of murder when he was much, much, much younger. So one of the interesting things is that he has what is known as a, I wouldn't call them a Victorian death photo. I might just be more of like, maybe like a Edwardian death photo. 'Cause I don't. Yeah, I think Edward was king at the time. But anyways, so long time ago, there used to be a tradition where people would pose with the photo, in a photo with their dead loved one. So they would dress them, they would like embalm them and stuff like that, which is creepy as shit. But they were fascinated with death. They were, for weird reasons, they were fascinated with death. And they took a photo. And you could it took some kind of really looking at the whole photo to figure out who was dead. But the photo is actually in the warden's office. And this is a photo of him, his parents, and his baby sister. The baby sister's the body. And so what he did to her was he killed her. And at first he was excited about the idea of being a big brother, and then the baby showed up, and the baby did what babies do. They cry. And what did this asshole do? He got tired of her crying. What did he think, that they came out of the womb able to talk? And he killed her. So he got his first taste of blood at a very young age. And he liked it. He liked it a lot. He liked the idea of taking people's lives, which is probably why he ended up becoming a warden. The story is very sick and twisted, especially when you're talking about somebody who had already developed a taste for blood and violence at a very young age. And about how he got away with murder for so long. How he would murder both whites and black kids. So to him, it didn't matter your skin color. If he could get his jollies off in ending your life, he would do it. So I mean, he had a lot of worries. Like, what would happen if it came out that he put a bunch of white boys in this shed with the black kids and burned them down, and just was, I mean, literally, he would be sent, either if he wasn't sent to prison, he would have been sent to a mental institution, because this man was just plumb ass crazy. I found it interesting. I really felt bad for every single one of his victims, including the baby, because, yeah, the baby did not have a chance. But the kicker is the child decided to make his life a living hell. So he was haunted by his sister for quite a long time. Anyways, I did like the book. I did. I think that she wrote a very, very good story. It's going to stay with me for a while. So, I actually have it on here. It says return early. I'm going to give this book 5 stars. It was an unsettling book, but damn, it had some good characters in it. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.